Yes, for the last few classes, we had about preventive and social medicine and obstetrics and pediatrics. The preventive medicine and obstetrics and pediatrics is so vast a subject. It has many facets, starting from antenatal care, internatal care, postnatal care, various national programs like Janani Suraksha Yojana, Navajata Sishu Karyakram, integrated child and infant care. There are so many topics, but ultimately all of them go round and round and round and round, and ultimately handed maternity and child welfare services, MCS services. So, to study about to understand about the maternity and child health care services, you must understand two concepts, very important concepts. Number one, high risk pregnancies, and number two, children at risk, newborn at risk. So these two concepts, if you do not understand, you will neither become a good teacher nor a clinician. So we must understand, this is the narrow point for understanding the entire chapter. I told you another secret when I was talking to you about demography and family planning. Probably a statistician, a demographer, a diligent person who has found through his statistics and said that the fertility is highest when the women exposed to sex or family life from 16 years to 20 years. That was the narrow point for the entire control of the population of the country. As you know, also the first country to introduce the national family account. Like that. Now today, I am giving you the secret that the antenatal risk pregnancies and infant at risk. The antenatal risk is, you see, number one, eclampsia is very important. There can be anemia in a higher degree, a short stage at primary, cephalopelvic disproportion. These are all the various causes for the risk of pregnancy. If you can in time found that and then either refer to the higher center or take their suggestion about the precautions you have to take while conducting the delivery, it's okay. You can go ahead. But the only thing is you must be able to decide that this particular pregnancy will go into a risk pregnancy. On the same lines, in birth, the infant, particularly in developing countries like us, we have prematurity and low birth weight. These two are the important things because of which our infant mortality is very high when compared to developed countries. And we have been trying to bring it back way back from 1977 onwards. We have been trying. But even till today, we could not come to a single digit infant mortality rate. So towards that, we are trying hard. But of course, I have already told you that we should not compare to countries like Europe, British, or Sri Lanka. There is nowhere before our country population is more than 1 billion. It's just a small piece of country with little population. We should not compare with them. Ours is like a heavy, you see, previously we used to have railways. Even to get momentum, it takes a lot of time for the movement of the train. And also, it takes a lot of time, some time to get reduced in inertia, and finally it stops. You cannot take immediate break and then try to stop suddenly at a particular point. Definitely it will be a disaster. On the same line, anything is applied to our country, it takes some time. When it gets momentum, it goes well. And then, of course, you know, the other part of history. When we speak about the care of the children, as you know, we have already classified it. Among the children, you have infant, 0 to 1 year infant, and then you have preschool children from 1 to 4 years, and you have school children from 5 to 14 years. So these are the children, and we have to take care of them, because the seed of health, we should, unfold when the child grows. Number one. Number two, the social factors which allow the child to grow in a very cordial and very healthy atmosphere so that he will become useful for the society. So you see, when we take the children, particularly in urban slums, because of lack of employment, so many people are migrating to the cities and settled there in a particular small place where there's no sufficient space, there's no overcrowding, there's no proper water supply, sanitation, open defecation, overcrowding. These are all the problems we know, isn't it? To control its situation, and at the same time, we provide a good social environment. Usually what happens is, mother and father living in a particular house, maybe having 2 or 3 kids. Most of the times what happens is, father works, they bring some money in the evening time, because they are daily wages. What happens is, on the way, he consumes some amount of alcohol consumption. That is a problem where in the starts, he comes to the house, he will not be able to give sufficient amount to the wife to provide nutrition, to provide food and other necessary items. There, particularly, this poverty stops. And it does not stop there. He will definitely, he beats his wife, and he creates such an atmosphere, children will be fearful. Children will be fearful. And there are no words to express their anguish, because mother and father themselves are quarreling to whom they can say. And what is the sort of social atmosphere? There is no affection, there is no bondage, there is no sacrifice. So these are all things which are necessary for the social development of the child. Because today, child in the house will become tomorrow product is youth. In poverty, what happens is generally the community policies, the child is fondled by many people. In the house, their own grandparents are nearby people, and most of the people will be having tuberculosis nowadays. You see, child exposed to tuberculosis, he develops a primary complex. He may not be able to immediately manifest the disease, but as he grows at a certain period when his immunity goes down, definitely the primary complex will break and there will be pulmonary tuberculosis. That's the problem. Number 1. Number 2, as far as the social situations are concerned, see, I just now told you, because there is no proper social atmosphere in the house. So every day the father comes meeting the mother, and the children will be not taken care of. Sometimes what happens is mother may leave the house and go away, and this fellow father may not come to the house at all. And whatever the 2 or 3 children are there, they will become nobody's control. Ultimately, they become street children. Of course, there are social welfare homes and then orphanages, etc. But you don't get the affection that every child should enjoy in his own house. In his own house. There are some houses which are very congenial for the children. You see, I should not disclose. I myself know in certain families, because of their poverty, their ration is fixed. For instance, you see, in the night time, they can only share the food what is available. 2 chapatis for each family members. And they have, the children maybe 3 or 4 children. And the chapatis must be distributed among all of them equally. One of the child, maybe the youngest child, goes out and comes late to the house, and his mother is waiting for him to feed, and then she also takes food and rest. The child came a little bit late, probably matter for teaching, chosen from somebody or his senior. He comes late, and that fellow is taking chapatis. 2 chapatis were due. While they are speaking, after completion of these 2 chapatis, the child is still stick on to his crown. He is not raising. Mother, because of affection, she took another chapati to his plate, which is kept for her. He has eaten that chapati also. And the elder brother is observing from somewhere, what is this fellow is eating the mother's food also. Then he still is continuing, and he has not got up from his seat. Mother, out of affection, again take the other chapati and complete this. Then the elder child gets angry and say that we have eaten whatever the thing left to her mother. She has to start this night. The fellow becomes so emotional. He almost just weeps. I have done such a mistake without realizing that mother is not having remaining food for her night. See the family drama. The sacrifice from the mother. She doesn't have anything to eat, but yet she has sacrificed it to his child. And the child, when he knows that mother has sacrificed our food also, see the pitiable situation of the child, because he really had an emotion and felt it. He was so guilty, and from there onwards, he will develop such a emotional bond with the mother and thinks that I should one day become a great man in the society, and I should take care of my parents in a very affectionate, in a very highly placed position. And the elder brother, of course, he repents for all these things. That is the bondage, social bondage, it's an affection, it's a love, which can we acquire only from the family. You cannot just see, there are so many children in social welfare hostels and other some homes, etc. Their social status, their way of behavior, their way of attachment to family is entirely different. What we need is a good family, a small family now. What our family welfare program is speaking everywhere, wherever it goes. all the people. They are speaking of a small family now. So that what happens is whatever the little amount they're earning, that can be sufficiently spent for the children to grow them up, and then to distribute among themselves the food in a normal way, not in a luxurious way, but whatever is necessary for the growth, nutrients, essential foods, etc. They can purchase, of course. Plus, government is helping the poor by so many social welfare measures. So you see, there are two types of families I just told you. One is a family which is responsible, and another family which gives a social lot of importance, social value. And that type of family should flourish in our society, so that one day we will definitely become a very prosperous country. As on today, I tell you, we need, at the size of our country, at least 400 million highly, skillful and then highly educated youth, productive youth, so that what happens is they not only support themselves, but they produce in goods and because of their knowledge and skills goes to somewhere other countries. They send foreign exchange to our country, and because they are highly paid, they have the amount that can be sent to houses, their families. So likewise, you will have a sufficient financial assistance, and at the same time, we will able to take care of the dependents. Who are the dependents? Up to 14 years, children are dependent, and after 65 years, maybe 60 years, the older people, though they may not contribute anything, it's a moral responsibility because they are father, mother. They have taken care of the last so many years, and now you cannot neglect them. You should be very gentle and see that the respect they deserve, whether they are educated or uneducated. After all, they are family members. Because of them, today we have such sort of emotional bondage and look after them. Now you see, among the children, just now I told you, some age groups are very important. One age group I have already told you, elderly children age group, which should be grown in a very healthy atmosphere, highly socialization of that particular life they need. Another one is, if we take infant, 0 to 1 years, infant, that age is very important. Why it is important? Because infant mortality is very high. Children will die in that particular age group. That's what is called as infant mortality. Infant mortality. Way back when in 1977, I already told you, infant mortality is 1.5,000 lives. As today, they're slowly coming down. Somewhere 33, or maybe nearly reaching 30 per 1,000 lives. So, this particular age group, infant mortality rate, we have to reduce, number one. Even among the infant mortality rate, half of the children are dying in the neonatal period. That is, either early neonatal period in the first week or late neonatal period up to 28 days. So these two groups are very important, and they are contributing for infant mortality in a high proportions. That's why somehow through advanced technology, the advanced sort of communication capabilities, a lot of public health personnel. Doctor need not be there. Some of the personnel who can be trained in this particular art, they themselves can take care of the entire process of the antenatal care, internatal care, postnatal care, whatever, everything. There are rocket sciences or not rocket sciences, and nobody can learn it. Easily, anybody can learn it. It's only practice, given training, their capacities build up, and so that there will be constant check over them, and then definitely we will be able to reduce the mortality rate during the neonatal. So now I will show some slides. We just go through them, then we will again resume our class. Scroll change. Okay. నేను చెప్పాలి కొంచెం ఒకసారి కూర్చోండి. No, so you see the pictures. I've been talking for the last so many classes. Today I thought I would praise you some of the real pictures, what's going on. This is, I told you about the trained eye. Eye means birth attendant. They are not highly respectful, just like doctors or the government officials. They are, it is a family tradition, one after other. They learn the art of delivering baby in the community. And slowly, after one generation, they will pass it over to another generation. And that was the procedure which we were adopted till the late 18th century. Only after introduction of the modern medicine to the British 19th century onwards, of course, this system gradually faded away. And today, we have no, almost, except in tribal areas, there are no trained guys. Everything is looked after by the health personnel, archery and hospital. All the deliveries are institutional now. There is no home delivery because, to be very frank, no house, particularly in villages, is suitable to conduct delivery because of various reasons like cattle, etc., cow, etc. Usually, the spores can spread and the source of spores. Child can easily get infected and get the neonatal tetanus. This old woman. She is actually trained eye. See how she is just getting adjusted to the sanitary way of dealing with things. She is having the gloves. Previously, the trained eye without any gloves. Gloves is, of course, is the latest edition. But even they do not clean their houses, hands properly. Because this even sudden occurs. She is somewhere and somebody comes and tells her that your presence is needed. As and when, as she is there, immediately rush to the spot and start handling the baby and the mother without any washing of hands. Naturally, there will be chances for spread of the infection. So these are all the village women. She is explaining about the modern ways of conducting delivery in villages. You see, this is the delivery kit. what happens in 1977 when National Rural Health Scheme was implemented? All the dyes, traditional dyes, were given training in PHCs by the doctors how to keep things sterile and how to approach the home delivery. They should use certain equipment like this is delivery kit. It is totally sterilized, and the things in the delivery kit are nothing but there are gloves, drapes, and then clean cloth, a blade, new blade, because you have to cut the umbilical cord and tie. There is a blade and such things. Sterilizer, also small sterilizer, if something necessary immediately without going anywhere, they can get sterilized there itself. So this is the delivery kit. After training, the kits are handed over to them. Then they used to conduct delivery in the house. Of course, now nowhere home delivery is being taken place, except in very remote villages and then in tribal areas. No home delivery. We should not encourage also home deliveries. You see the newborn baby in our modern health facility, probably in primary health center, community health center, where the child is delivered and carefully be handed over to the trained staff nurse, etc., to take care of the child. While they observe the mother for slow involution and for observations like whether the placenta is being safely delivered or not, something is retained in the womb so that there will be possibility for further infection, peripheral sepsis, etc. Now you see there is baby corner. Actually, what happens is immediately after the birth, our main aim is to see that establish the respiratory passages first. That is the most important thing. So immediately we try to suck the amniotic fluid or some sticky things, etc. with the sucker, mucus sucker, put into the nose, mouth, etc. So that immediately the child takes breath and it cries. So that when the baby cries means the nasal passages are clear and respiration is established. This is a very important item. Otherwise, unless and otherwise you resuscitate the newborn, there is no further progress in the survival of the child. Then this is the modern labor room. Usually, now I don't know whether we have the opportunity of going to community centers and then primary health centers. Government has spent a lot of money because we have National Rural Health Mission. Another National Rural Health Mission heavily equipped all the hospitals with the latest equipments. See, this is all the latest equipment. This is a baby corner, this is a table where mother will be delivered, and that illumination. And above all, the privacy of the mother is protected. Nobody can enter this room. So that's it. And I think this is a radiant newborn baby warmer. See, you have to maintain the body temperature of the child. How important it is, I will again come back to you after this images are over. So this is a radiant warmer. And then you see, this is the typical posture of a child. If the child is getting infected with tetanus spores, in the first week, period, the child will develop tetanus neonatal, and this will be the posture of the child. 99% death is certain. You cannot protect tetanus neonatal. Of course, you must be knowing that today we have eliminated the tetanus, neonatal tetanus from our country. It's not that because of regular antenatal immunizations in child are also immunized. So slowly this tetanus neonatal is eliminated from it. There are some congenital malformations and then some diseases, some infections of the mother during pregnancy. This is congenital syphilis, and then we have congenital dislocation of the hip. Sometimes what happens is a congenital condition. We don't know what the cause exactly, but this ball of the femur will not exactly sit in the socket of the pelvis. It comes up. So this is a congenital condition. And finally, you see this hypothyroidism, congenital hypothyroidism. This is very important. If you screen the child and you know that there is hypothyroidism, you substitute with thyroid hormone, then child will not go into the further stage of preterm. You know, preterism, there is no growth of the child, there is no intelligence, there is idiotic. So all those things can easily be treated. Just take 5 ml of blood from the umbilical cord, and that blood must be subjected to various screening procedures for common neonatal diseases. That will be the result immediately, and then we will be able to know what is the problem, congenital problem with the child. So these are the images which I wanted to show you. Now we will go to our regular class again. Thank you. Okay. So I have already told you that we will confine to only neonatal period today, early neonatal and then late neonatal care. Early neonatal care, you see, first 7 days. Whatever it is, immediately after birth, you have to attend certain things like on the table itself, you have to clean the airway, establish the airway. First, your responsibility is to see that the child should cry. Hitherto, what was happening, nobody used to bother about the child. Everybody used to bother about them because the maternal mortality rate was so high in those days. Mother's life is precious. We can again try and have another child, but we cannot try for the mother. That's why in those days they used to give a lot of importance to the child. Slowly we were able to reduce the maternal mortality, and now today when we reach about 2 maternal deaths per 10,000 live births, now we are in a comfortable position. We are showing a lot of interest in protecting the infant now. Okay, the section is different, the section is different because it is a combined effort of the obstetrician and pediatrician. So naturally pediatrician is there, he will take care of the child. First of all, they have to maintain the cleaning the airway. Just now you have seen with the sucker, they have to suck all the sticky material from the nose and the mouth so that respiration is established. By doing that, you must have heard already Apgar scoring. When we were students, the teachers used to show us about the color of the skin, and then see the respiration, then pulse pulse rate, heart rate, all these things. There are about 5 points where every point gets the muscle tone, etc. Every point gets 2 marks. Like that, Abgar scoring was 10. If it is above 5, there is no problem. Try to revive the child. If it is less than 5, it is a very dangerous situation where the child needs resuscitation care. Maybe the child has to be stabilized and then sent to the nearest neonatal care center. Then care of the cord. We should not immediately cut the umbilical cord. The reason being, previously people used to do that. As soon as the child is delivered, without waiting for the placenta separation, etc., immediately we used to cut the umbilical cord and then the rest of things they used to do. Now, people found that the umbilical cord has some pulsations. As long as there are pulsations, it means that blood is flowing from the mother to the fetus, and it is providing oxygen, nutrition, etc. That's why you wait for the cessation of pulsations, then you cut the umbilical. So, and you should not apply anything, cow dung, etc. Nothing need to be applied there. It's not necessary. Then you have to see the eyes, whether the child is able to open his eyes, these are eyes, able to see others. Are they still, the eyelids are sticky? You have to take a clean cloth and slowly wipe out both the eyes and then see whether the child is able to open his eyes. And then whatever it may be, you have to instill some antibiotic eye drops, maybe silver nitrate, maybe tetracycline, gentamicin, such drops you have to use. Previously, some of the infections like gonococcal infection was very common in those days. The child used to get infection with that gonorrhea bacteria. People become blind. Children become blind. Ophthalmia neonatal. That's a term. So we have to take a now, of course, gonorrhea is to a large extent it is controlled. The incidence of that particular problem is almost nil. After that, we have to take the care of the skin of the baby. Because things will be deposited on the body. It's called vernix. The baby comes out, it will be slippery. And there will be some blood clots, some mucus. So slowly we have to clean all those things. And because you have to maintain the body temperature, the child has to be wrapped in a clean white towel and then hand over the baby to the mother. What for? For the first 24 to 48 hours, the temperature of body temperature of the infant shall be maintained, because immediately the child who are actually in the womb of the mother at a constant temperature, maybe at about 38 degrees centigrade. Because when acclimatized so many months, suddenly when the baby comes out from the mother, what happens is actually the outside temperature is lower than the inside temperature. The child loses the warmth of the body. That's why immediately the child has to be, after cleaning, wrapped up and then go to the mother. So that what she does is, she keeps the child over the chest in between both the breasts, so that number one, there will be body contact, constant contact, which maintains the temperature of the body temperature of the infant, number one. Number two, whenever there is necessary, baby feels hunger, immediately she can take the breast milk. Of course, within 1 hour, we have to allow the child to have the breast milk, because previously, once upon a time, breast milk is very thick and looks some yellow. People thought that, particularly in rural communities, that is dangerous and the child cannot digest it. And so they used to discard. Now, after advancement of the science and experiments, it is clearly known that the breast milk, first breast milk, will have the immunoglobulins, particularly immunoglobulin A, which protects the child from various infections. So that's why they encourage the mother to give breastfeeding to the child, breastfeeding to the child immediately within 1 hour, and thereafter, whenever the child needs the hunger, immediately she has to put to the breast. And then the infant shall be examined. First of all, we have maintained the airway, child is alive. Immediate danger to the child, neonatal asphyxia has been ruled out. Child is comfortable. Then now you have a child examination first. Who will be there? Usually the trained staff nurse, labor room staff nurse, they will be there. Of course, doctor also will be there, probably obstetrician. So they will just first look for any skin turning into blue, or any congenital anomalies, big anomalies like small head, cephalic measurement, and some maybe sometimes hairy congenital anomaly. So such things they will be searching, and if there is nothing, of course, there is the first examination, but second examination, neonatal examination, must be by a pediatrician nowadays, because he is a competent person to see is there any problem in cardiorespiratory system. He will be able to decide. Outwardly, there may not be anything. The staff may not be able to point out anything, but pediatrician, when it goes to the child, auscultate the child, observe the child, is there any indrawing of the chest, etc., and by seeing the color of the skin, he will be able to decide about the cardiorespiratory function. And other anomalies like is an imperforated anus is very common. And in case of female child, labia will be thick, the clitoris will be very prominent. This shows that low birth weight baby or premature baby. So these things will be taken care of by the pediatrician. And some of the infections, they are called neonatal infections. Like there can be, if mother suffers already, if she has syphilis, there is a problem, congenital syphilis, hepatitis, which will be transferred by the mother, and then the neonatal tetanus. Nowadays it's very rare. Then we will go for the measurement of the baby. That is weight of the baby and length of the baby and head circumference, etc. There is a meaning in it, because if you take the weight of the baby is less than 2.5 kg, your entire management will be different because low birth weight baby. Low birth weight baby. Their maintenance is difficult. There's some barrier nursing and then frequent examination by the pediatrician. Of course, nowadays we have what are called neonatal units, neonatologist, the specialist is there to see this type of babies. So these are the early neonatal care. Then we'll go for the late neonatal care. What happens is from the second, third, up to fourth month. The problem, one problem is feeding is one problem. Sometimes what happens is the child may not be able to suck the breast milk. Usually the child is premature or low birth weight baby. The baby will not be able to suck the breast milk. Then there is a method where you express the milk in a small cup and with a small vessel, try to feed the child. Or you take the milk into a syringe and then by drop you can feed the child. Number one. And other one is infections. Infections are very common. Usually, lung infection, pneumonia is very common. Klebsiella, there is hemophilus. Once upon a time, they were very common and they were responding to just ordinary antibiotics, sulfa, etc. Now, of course, hemophilus influenza developed resistance to regular antibiotics. Now, under the care of the pediatricians, we have to use the antibiotics, etc., in a very specialized way. So, during that period, the pediatrician would take care of the child from the infections and number two, providing sufficient nutrition from the mother's milk. He will be advising what to do, how to do. And more so, if the child is low birth weight child, premature child, of course, premature is before 37 weeks of pregnancy. Low birth weight is 2.5, less than 2.5 days. So such infants shall be looked after, especially by the pediatrician. We will have separate rooms where the temperature is maintained. There's an incubator. The frequent visits are necessary. The temperature inside that incubator should be constantly maintained. Sometimes what happens is because they are run through the electricity, they will short circuit, get short circuit. Some now and then we used to hear that in such a particular hospital, the child died because of the electrocution, and then there is a lot of hue and cry by the public that they are not maintaining properly. Like that, there used to be so many complaints, etc. Poor doctor cannot answer those questions because it has to be seen and maintained by resident medical officer in the hospital, superintendent, etc. They have to look after. But of course, they cannot absorb their responsibility. There is a problem with baby farmers. Immediately bring it to the notice of some electrician who is there in the hospital. He will come and repair it. Somewhere about probably 2 or 3 years ago, I heard that in Rajasthan and in Rajasthan, infants, number of infants used to die because that particular year the temperature was very low. The reasons because of change in the entire climate, and children are sent to the hospital, and whoever the child is to die. What is the reason? When somebody has gone into the details, there are baby radiant warmers. There are about some 300 or 400 like that in the hospital. Out of which 350 radiant warmers were not functioning just because the current is not passing. It is not a major defect, major repair. It can easily be attended. I say, even I belong to medical profession, it is negligence on the part of the doctors and staff hospital. You see, you cannot be so irresponsible. We will come to you. You have to bring it to the notice of the authorities and see that it is repaired, and then only you have to leave that place. Because you are paid for that. Your duty is only that. How can you absorb from such responsibility? I had that some doctors have, because there are no sufficient funds for the hospitals, that's why they are not able to maintain the hospital. It's not the answer. That's not. It's not civilized way of behaving. We have to be physically there and see that everything is kept in order. It's our responsibility. So the premature and low birth weight babies, like that we have to maintain. So this is the in short about the early neonatal and post neonatal care of the child. We will meet in the next class. Of course, this chapter has got many topics. And, I think we are, just to complete this particular subject, we may need 3 or 4 classes further. There is a newborn action plan. By converging all the various points from important specialties like neonatologist, obstetrician, pediatrician, sonologist, and then genetic specialist. All these specialties put together, they have made a newborn action plan in 2014, where it's a very effective way of things are converged from various specialties, so that anybody can get a good grasp knowledge of this maintenance of that particular neonate successfully to come out from the prematurity and low birth weight. And afterwards, we have got all the immunizations, national immunization schedule. Particularly in late neonatal care, today we have child may die of diarrhea and pneumonia. Both the things, you see the greatness of our government. They have provided rotavirus vaccine to stop the diarrhea, and then hip vaccine, pneumococcal influenza, pentavalent vaccine, very costly vaccines. Once upon a time, pediatricians used to boast about themselves that we have introduced these vaccines, and the vaccines are not available in the hospital. And naturally, every child will be suffering diarrhea and pneumonia. If you take to the government hospital, the child will die because they do not know how to manage, and then there are no this type of vaccines which are available for us. There's no wrong in spreading the information. What about the poor people? How can they meet these requirements? That's why the government is a large money. They have introduced these 2 vaccines. Today, our neonatal care is absolutely world class, and I'm sure we'll definitely achieve our goal, single digit improvement of neonatal. Thank you. We'll meet in the next class.